I wanted to very quickly show people just how different the different Nightmare Dungeon tiers are. So right here we have an Elite Pack. I'm level 87. I'm in a tier 37 dungeon. These are level 91 monsters. And I'm just going to stand here while I wait for my abilities to go off, walk up casually, and kill them. I also just stood in the CC and I took the damage. This is a tier 37 Nightmare Dungeon where the monsters are 4 levels higher than me on a level 87 Necromancer. Keep that in mind when we cut to the next clip that I show you. So I'm now in a tier 57 dungeon. If you don't know, basically the level of the monster is the tier of the dungeon plus 54. So the monsters in this dungeon are going to be level 111, meaning that there are 24 levels higher than me. Monsters who are higher level than you do more damage to you because your resistances count for less, as well as you do less damage to them. So I just want to use this as an example of how little I can afford to even get hit by base monsters at this tier for fear of dying. So you're going to notice I'm going to go much slower. There you go. You have a level 111 monster. I'm going to let it hit me. That monster just hit me for a quarter of my life, and then the second one tapped me with an attack. Those are base monsters, and they're base attacks hitting you when they are 24 levels higher than you. I've seen a lot of content recently trying to compare the relative strength and survivability and viability of builds in this game, where people will say, well, my build is fantastic, it's wonderful, it clears all content, I'm doing tier 30 dungeons, no problem. This is how much different the scale of damage and survivability is on the exact same build. And I want to show you just how much damage reduction I have on my character at any given time. On my chest, I have damage reduction from distant, damage reduction from close, and additional armor. On my pants, I have damage reduction from close, damage reduction while injured as well. I use a defensive aspect on here to generate barrier. I use a defensive aspect here to generate barrier. I use a defensive aspect here to generate additional armor. I have maximum life on my ring as opposed to having additional damage here as well. You'll see that I have 5,800 armor, 6,000 life. And then if we go down to my defensive stats, I have near or greater than 50% resistances across all resistances. I have flat out 18% damage reduction. I have a total of near 50% damage reduction from close monsters, 24 from distant, 38, and an additional 14% damage reduction while fortified. On top of that, I'm using 3 different abilities to be able to generate Fortify. Fortify giving you 10% damage reduction. So I have Blood Mist fortifies me, I have Bone Prison fortifies me, and then in my Paragon tree, I am actually using the Blood Drinker glyph just to generate Fortify from when I pick up Blood Orbs on a build that does not interact with Blood Orbs in any other way, shape, or form other than to generate Fortify. On top of that, I also have Bone Storm that says when it's active, I just have 15% additional damage reduction. All of this are stats that you need to prioritize to actually be able to push into endgame Nightmare Dungeons for any semblance of a chance of actually being able to survive the damage long enough to do your own damage. I know this is kind of like a weird, almost like contextless video to make, but I really want to help try to educate people about what they should be looking at when trying to actually evaluate whether or not like a build is viable. Something that can clear World Tier 2, something that can clear World Tier 3, and something that can do outdoor content in World Tier 4 basically does not matter when you consider the actual end game, which is pushing into Nightmare Dungeons. So if you're having issues in Nightmare Dungeons, you're not trying to figure out like exactly what's not clicking or whatever, take a look at your gear and stats in your Paragon boards and take roughly half of what you're putting towards doing more damage and completely convert it over to survivability, damage reduction, fortify, resistances, whatever you can. Like that is how important these stats are in Diablo 4. And I just hope that that saves you a lot of headache and a lot of struggle bussing and a lot of wondering why your build isn't viable. It's probably because you're not surviving enough. Thank you very much for watching this quick video. I hope that helps you in your journey in Diablo 4, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.